Before I start this episode, I want to tell you that it will be a great blessing for you to follow this podcast if you haven't done it yet. And also give me a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts so this podcast can bless other women as it is blessing you. I'm going to tell you about my own story when I realized that I was settling, that I wasn't in love. And I saw myself in the mirror thinking, what am I doing here? I was in a relationship with a narcissist for almost 6 years then. The relationship was going back and forth. We broke up, we made up. We broke up, we made up. I moved out with my children, and then I moved back in. I was very hurt emotionally at the time because of my inner child wounds and because of my marriage, my divorce rather. But I felt in my heart that I deserved better. I looked around at my kids, at the life I was living. Financially, I was in a great position. But emotionally, I was a mess. And it was like a light bulb turned on. And I said, this is not the life I want. I deserve better. I know there's better. And I stopped thinking that something was better than nothing. Because even before I got into that relationship, I'm going to tell you that I knew that relationship wasn't for me. I knew that person wasn't for me. But I settled because I was afraid of being alone. And when I said I was financially doing well, I don't mean that he was supporting me, because he never did. I did it all on my own. I had a great job, so I wasn't there for the need of financial support. I needed to be loved. I felt that I needed some attention, even when it was crumbs. If you're tired of carrying wounds from your past marriage or your past relationship, and you are afraid of being hurt again, but want to learn how to communicate and build trust so you can find a godly partner, you are in the right place. I am Patty Morimura, a relationship coach for Christian women over 40. I learned the secrets of building a God-centered relationship after divorce, healing emotionally, and overcoming fear without losing myself in the process. If you're ready for healing, stability in your life, and maybe even dating again, grab your earbuds and a notebook to take notes, and let's do this. I looked in the mirror and I thought, this is not the life I want. This is not the life I deserve. See, I had accepted Jesus in my heart back when I was 17 years old. So I knew about Jesus. I just kept walking away when I thought I had what I wanted or what was for me. There was a prayer that I would ask him to bring me the right person, the right man. And I started going to church on Sundays, every Sunday, and saying that prayer and thinking, if I go to church on Sundays, he will bring me the right man. I know that because he's not a God that breaks promises. So every time I thought I had met the right one, even though I knew it wasn't the right one deep in my heart, I didn't know. I would walk away from church. I would go maybe a couple of Sundays after that, try to convince the boyfriend at the time to come with me. And then, obviously, they didn't want to go to church anymore because they weren't church people. So then I would stop. I'll stop my prayers also. So my promise to God was, bring me somebody and I'll go to church. But then once you find me a person, I'll walk away. And that's basically what I did in my past 2 relationships that I had. Obviously, those relationships didn't work out because, like I said, I knew since the beginning they didn't feel right. Especially with this narcissist guy, I knew he wasn't the one. But again, something was better than nothing in my mind. So I went ahead and moved forward with that relationship. I was also thinking at the time, I can't be picky at my age with 2 kids. Not only that I thought of it, but it was said to me when I got divorced. And I also heard it from my grandmother and my mother. Those words weren't said directly to me, but they were said around me. And a lot of times grown-ups think that children don't necessarily pay attention, but they do, believe me. They pay attention to everything. Because I remember hearing those words, and those words, like I said, they weren't said to me, but they were said around me, and I just kept them engraved in my mind. So when I got divorced, I felt like a failure. I felt like I didn't deserve to be happy anymore. Like with my divorce, I lost my chance at love, and that was it. No more. Take whatever you can, because that's it. Which it was just the enemy part of it talking, because like I said, I had accepted Jesus in my heart at the age of 17, and I knew my God was an awesome God, and that he wasn't going to fail me, and that he died for me, that Jesus died for me on the cross so I could have a life that he can only offer. But again, I moved away from him, so how could I come back to him? I felt guilty at the same time. I walked away, and this is what I deserve. So I was quote unquote punishing myself, thinking, I don't deserve to go back to him. I don't deserve to pray to him anymore because I did this. So that's what happens when you don't listen to God, when you don't do what he wants you to do. But if you're a divorced Christian woman who is tired of feeling broken, too old, or like you missed your chance at love, I need you to hear this. You are not damaged goods, and God is not finished with your story. But winging it and dating after divorce is exactly how you end up repeating the same painful patterns. Inside my Dating After Divorce membership, you will get a proven framework to spot red flags early, weekly coaching calls for real dating situations, and a community of women who truly get what you're walking through, all rooted in faith and practical guidance. Right now, I am looking for a few founding members to lock in 50% off for life before this offer closes and the price goes up. No more settling out of fear, no more giving your heart to men who haven't earned it. You deserve a love that honors you, and it's time to believe that is possible. The link is in the show notes, but do not wait. This offer will not last long. That one time when I decided to move forward, it was really scary. I was doubting myself. I was afraid of being alone. But again, I remember that my God is an awesome God, and he doesn't give leftovers but the best. And this brings me to Matthew's 29:11. If you're feeling that way right now, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope in a future. So don't sell yourself short like I did at one point. And that's the whole purpose of this podcast. So you don't repeat the same mistakes that I did. So you can move forward faster than I did. And so you know that there is hope for you, because Jesus loves me just as much as he loves you. So I started living my life very differently. I had a life coaching membership that I joined, and that's when God began to heal me. Then after that, I finished the certification, and I was semi going in, going out with God again. But this time I asked him for discernment. I asked him to help me. I knew I didn't want to be alone. And I know a lot of women out there, maybe you're thinking now, I'm better alone than with somebody. And that's because you are used to not being with the right person. But God created us to be with somebody, not to be alone. So with that said, I'm going to tell you that if you're thinking I'm better alone than with somebody, that is true. I'm not saying it's wrong, but I'm saying is your lack of believing that there is someone out there that is not going to make your life miserable like your ex did. And the minute you believe that he does exist, then you're going to attract him to you. That was me. I believed that all good men were taken. I believe that I just had to change my ways and tell God, I don't want to be alone. I need you to bring in me the right person, and I promise to you that I'm going to serve you and I'm going to do what I can in exchange of that. And this time I was serious. This time wasn't going to be like I found them, see ya. No. This time something shifted in me. And the shift was that I didn't believe that I was broken anymore. That I didn't believe the lies from the devil, the enemy, that we are a failure, that we are too old, that no one's going to want us. Because I chose not to believe those lies anymore. It wasn't easy in the beginning, but with time, I trained myself, and with prayer, I trained my mind to think a different way. So I decided to give my life to God and to give my services to the women in church and to join a church that I wanted to belong to, not just be jumping from church to church. I joined that church. I started serving in that church. I started doing inner child healing sessions, and I started sharing with the women about my testimony while I prayed to God to find me a man. To my thinking, time was just passing by and nothing was happening. So I just said, God, I need you to bring me that someone. I don't want to wait anymore. I know you have your time, but I think it's time for me to find that someone, that godly relationship that I want, that I deserve. I want that person to love and respect me and love and respect my children. And I want that person to serve you. And I want that person to come to church every Sunday. And I want that person to read the Bible with me and pray with me every night, every morning. And I want the person to honor you and to honor me as his wife. And at that point, I believed it. I didn't even think it was impossible. I remember going to church and I remember talking to the pastor's wife, and I told her, this is what's going on and I need you to pray for me because I'm getting impatient and I don't like that feeling. And she did pray for me right there and then. She also shared more than a couple of times via text that she was praying for me and to be patient. And this is where the community comes. You can't change on your own. You need to surround yourself with people that can understand what you're going through, that can help you to get from point A to point B by getting closer to God, by serving Him. So if you don't have a community, I like to invite you to my Dating After Divorce membership community, where women support each other, where women are there to lift each other, to pray for each other, to understand each other, what they're going through, not just to learn about healing, but to create a community, a sisterhood. I'll leave the information on the show notes for you to check out after you finish this episode. But after that happened, I believe it was maybe about a month when I met my husband. I went to that. He gets upset because he asked if I felt anything that on that first meeting, and I said not really. The reason was because I was just so disappointed of meeting people that I didn't have any expectations. I really honestly think it's because I gave it to God and I said, if this is yours, make him stay. If not, let him go. So we met and we had a great time. First date, he brought me flowers, red roses. We met at a Mexican restaurant. We met November 19th. And it's ironic. November 19th, I met him. November 19, 2005, I moved into my new place after getting separated from my ex-husband to live with my kids by myself. So God works in mysterious ways. November 19th, 2005 was one of the worst days in my life, one of the worst years because of my divorce. November 19, 2022 was a blessing to me and to my husband because we both were looking for the exact same thing. For someone that we could both pray together, serve the Lord together, respect each other. See, when you have the Lord in your life, when you have the Lord in your house, everything else is like a given. You respect your husband, your husband respects you. He respects your children, treats them as his own. Everything is like follows one. It's like one thing after the other, because there's nothing, if God is not the center of that home, that relationship, nothing else is gonna follow. As much as you wanted to try, it doesn't work. But you have to believe it in your heart and you have to take action. And if you feel like there's something wrong with you, you've done the healing, but you still feel that there's something, but you can't understand what it is that's stopping you from feeling like you deserve what you want, I can almost guarantee there is something in there that is blocking you. That's something that is blocking you. We can find out what it is and begin to heal it with prayer, with exercises in my membership, Dating After Divorce for Christian women over 40. I really hope this episode touched your heart, and I really hope that it changed the way you thought if you were thinking that your life couldn't be rebuilt. I am the living proof, and I can attest to that. God will rebuild your life if you give him permission to do so. And if you give yourself to him, he will take care of what your heart desires. Thank you for listening one more time. And I hope you come back next week. So don't forget to follow the episode if you haven't done so. And also give me the 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Thank you so much for listening, and blessings. If you're tired of carrying wounds from your past marriage or your past relationship, and you are afraid of being hurt again, but want to learn how to communicate and build trust so you can find a godly partner, you are in the right place. I am Patty Morimura, a relationship coach for Christian women over 40. I learned the secrets of building a God-centered relationship after divorce, healing emotionally, and overcoming fear without losing myself in the process. If you're ready for healing, stability in your life, and maybe even dating again, grab your earbuds and a notebook to take notes, and let's do this.